Thank you, John.
Appreciate y'all coming out tonight. We're here with Washington Pike right-of-way meeting. My name's Tom Clago. I'm Director of Administration of the City of Knoxville. We last met with you all, I think it's been right at 2 years ago, in 2022. We had some good input as far as the project plans. We made a few revisions to the plans. And I can say from that point till now, there's been no significant changes to the project plan. So what you saw then is essentially what we've got now. We thought we're moving into the right-of-way phase now. It's a good time to get everybody back together, discuss the project, discuss what that means as far as the right-of-way phase, if your project's affected. So basically, the city has engaged with C.M. Smith, who's our design consultant, to prepare the project plans, and we've recently engaged with J&T, which is the right-of-way acquisition consultant that is going to use to acquire property for the project. So, as far as process, this project does have some federal funds in it, so it's 80% federal funding, 20% city match. And in doing that, it requires coordination with the Tennessee Department of Transportation and Federal Highway Administration. So those projects take longer, and that's part of the reason why it's taken as long as it has to get to this point. But we have went through an environmental phase, and so we have an environmental document that's approved by both TDOT and FHWA. We've got approved preliminary design plans, approved right-of-way plans, so now we're at the point where we can start talking to property owners about how that project will impact their property. I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder, but this phase we're expecting to take 18 to 24 months. And so you might have already received, the property owner received a notice from the city or J&T regarding some discussions that are going with the property. But for that, I'm going to turn it over. We've got Jeff Mize here with C.M. Smith. He's going to briefly go through the project just to remind you all exactly what it entails. And then we have J&T here, some folks who will talk about the right-of-way process and what to expect there. So I really appreciate y'all coming out tonight, and I'll let Jeff take over here.
Thanks. Well, again, my name is Jeff Mize with C.M. Smith. I've been the design manager on the job and been involved with this one since its beginning. I'm a lifelong Knoxville resident. I live out here. I understand and appreciate everybody's pain in driving this road. So it's taken a long time to get to this point. We're to the point of right-of-way acquisition. And really the focus of this meeting is for you all to be able to talk to the people who will be appraising property and making offers and looking at that right-of-way phase moving forward. But I'll walk you through the project and how we got here. So the project starts at the 640 ramps, and if you saw all the work that went on along that stretch of ramps at 640, that was TDOT. That was not the city of Knoxville, that was not this project. But it ties into the beginning of our job. So the left turn lane that goes underneath the 640 bridge that goes onto the ramp onto 640, all that work was completed by TDOT. And it's queued up and ready to tie to what we're doing. Moving forward, where TDOT has added those crosswalks and the little medians at the signal, we are adding shared use paths from that point all the way up to Target on both sides of the road. And where you have shoulders on the bridge that crosses the railroad, we're going to take those shoulders and add sidewalks, shared use paths on both sides. So we'll replace the bridge rail, put in a protective fence over the railroad, and have pedestrian and bicycle access through that section along Washington Pike. The big lane addition for that north-south stretch of Washington Pike is we will have a double right turn lane onto the ramp. So the outside lane, if you're coming south, the morning rush hour, if you're leaving Washington Pike, going onto the interstate to go west, the outside lane is a right turn only. The next lane over is a shared lane where you can either go through or turn right. Can everybody see around my big head? I'm sorry, I'm in the way. So that's the big change through there. And then get up to the Target intersection, and we have added lanes at the intersections. Again, that's for capacity. What we see out here is a lot of traffic in the peak hours. You all know, you live out here. So the morning and the afternoon rush hours, we need more lanes at those intersections. If you have two left turn lanes, that's twice as many cars that can go through to turn. So we're adding a double left for, again, that morning rush hour. coming from the target, and the length of the double left is almost the length of the target shopping center. So you've got a double left turn lane all the way down to the intersection, and it goes south, and it'll be a double right onto the interstate. And all the way through the project, we've got shared use paths. That was one of the big requests from the neighborhood, is we have better pedestrian and bicycle access. We've got a lot of amenities out here. In the park where we are now, we've got grocery, shopping, and a lot of residential, 3, 4 churches, and people wanted to be able to access those without having to get into their cars. So on both sides of the road, we've got pedestrian and bicycle access. On the north side, it's a 10-foot wide multi-use path. On the south side, it's an 8-foot wide sidewalk. So both of those are wide enough and wider than the normal standard to be able to accommodate pedestrians and bicycles. From the target intersection to the east, if you see blue on these maps, that's an 8-foot wide sidewalk. If you see this green, this dark colored green, that's a shared use path. It ties into the county network here around the park. So up on top of the hill at the target, that shared use path stays at the base of the target parking lot. And then we've got sidewalks on the south. We're having to build a retaining wall. If you see pink on these drawings, that's a retaining wall. So in order to do the widening in front of the Target Shopping Center, there will be a wall there. But we get close to Target, we introduce a median. One of the biggest safety problems that we saw on the project when we did our safety analysis, we back up, we looked at crashes, 10 years worth of crash data. We saw an average of 1 crash every 4 days on this stretch of road. So a lot of crashes through this area, so a major safety problem. One of the big areas where we had a safety problem is people trying to turn left out of this intersection. People get impatient, gun it, try to get out, see a lot of T-bones, a lot of crashes. So we are building a physical median through there. The green that you see here will be a landscape median, so you can't turn left. That's a right in, right out. So that's one of the safety improvements for the project. And then the new harvest entrance that most of you probably took to get here remains, but we'll have a left turn lane in. And then from that point to the east, it's a 3-lane section, 2 lanes, 1 in each direction with a center turn lane. That moves all the way up to Mill Road. And once we get to Mill Road, again, we need more lanes at the intersections because that's where you back up, people trying to turn at those intersections. So the Mill Road intersection, we've got a left turn for the church, turn lane to go south on Mill Road, and then it widens out to 2 lanes going eastbound. And then once we're coming westbound, we had 2 lanes coming west, but we drop a lane to go south on Mill Road. The signal at the church, we're realigning the church driveway to be at the signal. That was one of the requests of the church. We're building a retaining wall to reduce property impacts at the church. They've also requested that. So we worked really closely with Oak Grove Church on a lot of the improvements that you'll see on the map today. So moving further east, there's a median through here, a landscape median for several blocks. Between Mill Road and Bagley, and another request, and we checked the signal warrants. Signal is justified and warranted at Bagley, so we're going to add a traffic signal at Bagley. That's one of the ads since our June meeting last time we met with you guys. So a new traffic signal will go in there at Bagley. And then on to the east, 2 lanes in both directions, plus a center turn lane. And then once we get to the intersection with Life Spring, it's the old Arlington Church, we introduced that center median again. It'll be landscaped median. From there out to the end of the project, we end at Mill Road, or at Murphy Road, rather, and we are realigning the intersection with McCampbell. That's another very dangerous intersection, the real bad skew at McCampbell. So that intersection gets realigned. We worked around the Twisters parking lot, built a wall in front of Twisters so that business will stay. It's not a relocation. So that was another request. Is there any way we can save Twisters? Everybody likes their ice cream, so we can save Twisters. That's good. And then the signal at Murphy Road at the end. Again, the way we're managing the lanes, you've got 2 lanes approaching Murphy Road. 1 lane will go north at the signal, and 1 lane will go on the east end of the county. So that's just a real basic overview. If you've got questions about the maps, there'll be a map at each table, big long roll plot. And we've got, in addition to the maps, we've got copies of the property acquisition table. This has right-of-way and easements, and every single property that we'll be acquiring, right-of-way or easements. The amount of square footage or acreage is listed here. You find your name, talk to the folks from JMT, and we'll look exactly where you are on the map and exactly what the impacts are, and you can see what the acreage is that's going to be impacted. So each tract is numbered, and your names will be there, and their folks will be stationed at each table to help you walk through the maps and find what you need.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
On Trestle Way there, are you rerouting Trestle Way into Edmonton?
Trestle Way into Edmondson here. Yes. Yeah. And that's been part of the design for several renditions now.
So that'd be like, just like a little private looking road? Because that's currently called Washington Pike. What's that going to be called once the new one's built?
Not sure about names. I don't know if that'll get renamed or if it'll continue to be Trestle Way. I defer to the city on that question, for sure. But the intersection itself will be Trestle Way into Edmondson here instead of Trestle Way into Washington Pike.
But that little strip of road is Washington Pike right now. That, yeah.
That stretch right now is Washington Pike. So we're actually realigning, pushing Washington Pike over to the north. So this 4-lane section with a median is Washington Pike. And then Trestle Way will be realigned to the intersection with Edmondson.
I'm just curious what that little stretch of Washington Pike will be called once the new one's built. Because I live on that.
Sure.
So there's several of us that live there. And
Changing your address. or not.
changing the address or not,
Right,
yeah.
that's a good question. Yeah.
And we can talk about that.
So at this point, J&T, let me introduce the folks from J&T. You all come on up.
Could I ask a question?
Sure, quick question, that's fine. And we're gonna break out, there'll be time for, if it's just general questions, that's fine right now. If it's specific questions about your property, that's what these tables are for.
Do I see that there's a bicycle or a sidewalk path all the way to Murphy?
Yes. Yes, the full length on the north side of the road, this dark green, is a 10-foot wide multi-use path for the full length of the project.
Is that taking up space that should be another traffic lane?
So we're way past that point as far as process goes, and that's been a discussion point since the project's been on the books for 10 years. We've talked about, what does the section need to be? How does it need to serve more than just traffic, but multi-modes? We need to serve bicycles and pedestrians and traffic, and so that's been a lot of our discussions went along the way, but what you see now is the final redesign.
The only problem with the whole thing, we live in Wingate subdivision. It's hard to get in and out of that subdivision certain times of the day.
I understand.
You're gonna make it harder with 4 lanes of traffic.
So, and we can talk about the access and the signal breaks that we anticipate seeing by adding the signal vaguely, the signal breaks closer to the Wingate subdivision. But yeah, that's a good question, and we've got some
I've
representatives.
lived there for over 20 years, so I know how it works.
Sure, and
I understand.
I'll hook you up with the guy that lives in Wingate too, who's here, who's with our company. We know. So we live there too. We get it.
About I just have Campbell that comes out onto Washington Pike. So I see we rerouted there.
Yes.
The road behind.
So the road behind, yeah, so the question is, behind Twisters, how does the traffic circulation work there? Old McCampbell Drive will be one way, it'll be right in only. So if you're coming from Murphy Road, coming from the east, it'll be right in only into the back of this intersection, the back of Twisters, or onto McCampbell Drive.
That answers the question. It's not a two-way road anymore, it's one way.
That part's not a two-way. The two-way access will be further down where it comes in at 90 degrees, a much safer access.
What do you expect to get out of this stuff?
So total project schedule, question is, we're looking at 18 to 24 months for the right-of-way process. We've got close to 50 property owners that we negotiate with each one of those. That's what JMT will be doing. So once that process is over with, the city will award a contract, and construction will start after that. So we're looking at about 18 to 24 months before construction actually starts. JMT, this point?
Yeah, I'm Jimmy McSpadden. I'm the senior real property specialist. Got staff members Emily Hooper and Galen Hill. They'll be making offers based on appraisals that are done on your property. So the next phase is you're gonna hear from a guy named David Pitkin. He's the appraiser that's been picked for this project. Your appraisal's gonna be done. He's gonna come out and meet with you, talk to you about what's happening with the slopes and the temporary construction easements and the acquisition areas. He's gonna appraise it, then that appraisal's gonna be reviewed by Lee Butler. He's already been picked to do the reviews, and then both independent from the city of Knoxville. And then we'll be out making offers on behalf of the city of Knoxville.
All right, with that, we'll go ahead and maps rolled out on tables there, and if you have specific questions, you're welcome to come up to those stations and take a look at the maps.
The map that I'm rolling out is exactly what I had on the screen, and these tables have the properties.